how do I feel now that the Peace Garden is not there anymore? Pretty sad. Not only for the fact of what it meant to the community, but that the environment, the ground that it was on, was very, very was a good ground. It was always a playground when I was a child, and the trees that were in the garden were, serving a really good purpose. And there was so many things around it. It had a spiritual sort of like feeling to it, and there were so many memories there that when they did say that they were going to demolish the whole Peace Garden, there was a huge amount of surprise by a lot of people.
Well, I did not feel any way because I know when I got South Region first, I know sooner or later that we have to move.
So you knew that going in?
And I knew that, and I knew for years, way back, about 28 years, way back, that they was going to redevelop Regent Park, so I did not feel any way, as long as I find a place and put the Dreamers Peace Garden.
These are plans for the parkette that is going to be in the park in front of us here. And part of the plan for the park is for us to be able to have the Peace Garden. And so it's a really essential part of the plan. It will be on the east side of the garden, and it will include some bench seating, so an area where people can be, and holding on to the themes of what was originally planned.
When Alceda Douglas came up with the idea of the Peace Garden, it was, I think it was a very revolutionary thing to do. Good timing too, because Alceda was very much an activist, and there was a lot of things going on that really became dangerous as an activist in Regent Park. So it became a safe place, and that's what I think the community and I enjoy having the Peace Garden for, is a place of refuge for grieving and also for relaxing.
I met David 2007. I don't remember the date, but it was the same time we was about to open. I was on the radio and he heard me on the radio.
When the radio came on, I heard Alceda. She was basically discussing how it came about that she had a dream, and that the dream was a very clear message to her that we needed to have a Peace Garden for all the children and people who were hurt in the Regent Park area.
I saw a circle with children like babies right around and all different ages right around, and they made a left turn on St. Bartholomew Street going to 51 Division and Regent Street.
And they came up the street and went around the corner and circled around where the Peace Garden was. That's how she sort of came up with that location. And she just talked about how when she saw the images, that it was almost like a voice that said, we have nowhere to go. Like, we really want to be remembered.
So I woke up, had my shower, I went outside, and the first person I saw was property manager Albert Koch. And I called him, I talked to him, and he said, go ahead and make your garden.
It was almost an instant reaction and an instant sort of like, okay, let's do this. And I think it was 3 months later they were sitting around a table. A year later it was built.
It is very important to David because right where the garden was, there was the apartment. I think he was living up on in that building. And he told me that his mother passed away. Someone killed his mother, okay? And he missed his mom so much, and he was going to take his life. And when he closed his eyes, he pictured a beautiful garden at the same spot where the garden was made. So when he heard me on the radio, he knew exactly where I was talking about.
I lived in the building above it. That was my backyard. And so when I put that together, that was exactly where I played as a child, I didn't give it a second thought. I went directly down there with my paints, my watercolors, and I watched the festivities that day. and I was introduced to her. Somebody came over and asked why I was painting the garden. I explained to them that I was here because my mother was murdered, and if this peace garden was about people who were murdered in Regent Park, I was very much interested. So this is Evelyn Eileen Keeping. She died at 36. She was murdered by my stepfather. He shot her in the back. She was a very special woman, but hard as nails, believe me. She was a tough woman. And I believe that she really did play a big role in guiding me to the garden that day.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
Sure.
And do you feel that for you, the Peace Garden, in its new form, is still going to be a place for you to remember her?
Oh, for sure. I believe that, yes. I believe that my mom will always play a role in keeping the message open, that it's not just today that the violence started, that the issue of violence and targeting certain individuals, we need to tread very carefully, on that subject, and not keep, saying, oh, it's only one group, it's only one group. It's not true. The groups change. In 10 years, it'll be another group of people that they say they're not worth it. And in 10 years from that, hopefully that changes and everybody's worth it. It's not just, whoever we think's bigger than the other person.
I love you guys. Keep out of trouble. Sit down. Listen to your teacher, your parents. And if you cannot speak to your parents and they don't listen to you, try to get somebody outside that is elderly most and speak to that person, a mentor, whatever it may be. Because parents are human beings and made a lot of mistakes, including myself. So it's not everything we do as parents are right also. So just listen to your teacher, you're elderly, don't be rude on the street, and take in your education to the best of your ability. Try your very best. And if you fail, go back and repeat it. Don't give up. Love, peace, unity, and justice for all. God bless.
Hope for a generation just beyond my reach, not beyond my sight. Hope for a generation. Hope for a generation just beyond my reach, not beyond my sight. Hope for a generation. Hope for a generation just beyond my reach, not beyond my sight.